Hi, this is the Tiger Wolf 55.
Oh, and hi, I'm not the Tiger Wolf 55, in case you're wondering. I'm actually, um, I'm Bloodstainedfur, that's right. I had to read my little note cards here.
I told you to memorize those.
I tried to, but you look at the little scribble scrabble. You're like a doctor's handwriting here. Look at this. How am I supposed to read that?
You wrote those.
No, I didn't. Oh, yeah, that's right. Here's my little smiley face. Good luck, bricked leg. You know what, forget it. I'm just gonna wing it.
You actually
Don't need
wrote
those
encouraging notes to yourself?
Well, no one else is gonna encourage me, so I might as well.
I'll encourage you, bud.
Okay, all right. I'm totally professional now. What are we doing? Oh, yeah, that's right. We're doing
Yeah, we're doing a review.
Pizza night, right?
No, not pizza
and
night.
Pizza after.
No. Well, yes, pizza after.
Fine, no.
But that's not what we're
Pizza
doing right now.
Right.
So then, movie that we're going to be reviewing is oh right.
Oh, he's purring because he's a tiger wolf.
Ha ha.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to be reviewing Thor 2.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. We're doing a review of Thor 2, The Dark World. Actually, not so dark because, nobody turned off the lights. But yeah, we would have gotten to this review a little bit sooner because, that film already came out last year. Sorry about that. But, yeah, we got a little delay because the Bifrost is still being repaired. And so, yeah, we're stuck here for a little bit, so
yeah, unfortunately we tried to get this out sooner, but well, apparently Loki's back ways aren't that easy to navigate.
We tried it, but if it was easy, everyone would do it, right?
Yeah. Well, you were the one who was supposed to be flying that thing.
I know, but again, I didn't know what I was doing.
I know. Maybe you should have let the guy who knows how to fly actually do it.
Fair enough.
All right, so enough stalling. I think that we should actually start talking about the movie.
Yay!
Bloodstainedfur?
Huh? Come on, you're interrupting the music. You're breaking the flow here, man. Come on, go with me.
You're singing the wrong music.
No, I'm not. This is the right music.
No, that's the Avengers music.
It is? Oh,
yeah, that is totally.
It should be the Thor theme music.
No, Thor has his own music.
Well, that's not memorable enough. In fact, none of the Avengers theme music is memorable except for the actual Avengers movie. Huh. So we're gonna use that one. Wait a minute, Disney might sue me, won't they?
Probably.
Okay, fine. Keep it under the radar, really quiet, so they won't be able to hear it. Keep going.
Okay, well then, the plot for Thor 2. Since the last movie, Avengers, Thor has been going around the 9 realms, protecting the peace, doing everything that he needs to do to bring order to the universe.
Doing quote-unquote superhero stuff.
Yes, he's a superhero. That's why it's a superhero movie.
Superhero business, right.
Yeah, he's been out there protecting space.
The final frontier.
A dark...
Or not the final frontier, okay. The 9 realms, right. Keep going, you're doing beautifully.
Meanwhile, a supervillain named Malekith, he's on the rise. He's a dark elf who's existed from a time before the universe actually existed, and his goal is to try to make the universe as it used to be. In other words, he's got to destroy everything to bring back the darkness. In order to do this, he's going to be using a substance named the ether. The ether itself has actually infected Jane Foster, the girlfriend of Thor from the first Thor movie. Thor finds out about this, goes to rescue Jane, takes her to Valhalla to try and see if there's a way to get the ether out of her safely, but that ends up just drawing Malekith. He attacks, the entire universe is now in jeopardy, and Thor ends up having to turn to the one guy that he knows that he just can't trust anymore, even though it breaks his heart.
Right. Hulk.
Are you serious?
Well, they were smashing each other. There wasn't a whole lot of love and trust there.
Yeah, but he knows that he can at least trust Bruce Banner. And the Hulk, he can trust to smash. Loki, he can't trust to do anything. That guy has you going everywhere.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, fine, whatever. Yeah, Loki.
So that's basically the plot for Thor 2. There is more to it, but we don't want to give you spoilers. We'd rather
we kind of do, but were resisting. But isn't that big? And the fact of the matter is that whole thing he just covered, that's only like the first 45, 50 minutes of the movie. Woof!
Yeah, this thing is actually a huge deal. The scale of this thing is actually bigger than the Avengers if you think about it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
Which, unfortunately, is undercut by its own weaknesses. But we'll get into that later. First, Bloodstainedfur, what did you think about the movie? Why did you like it?
Well, I liked it because first and foremost, it was indeed a very exciting, very fast-paced kind of film. It was very much in the tradition of the Avengers in the sense that there was a lot of things going on and a lot of fun stuff going on, a lot of great action. Great character development and great acting from everybody, and it was just overall just a really fun film. This was a film that you could really easily get into, and if you weren't like in love with the Marvel franchise beforehand, then you're definitely going to feel it with this film, I think.
Thor 2 is kind of like the amalgamation of all that Marvel has done so far, even more so possibly than the Avengers. The Avengers was just the best of the best that Marvel has done so far. Thor is kind of the best that Marvel has done, and also the worst. But focusing on the best for right now, you are absolutely right. The story is great. The set pieces are really cool. The characters are both written and played fantastically. I really enjoyed the interactions between everybody. Even down to side characters like Thor's mom. She ended up being one of the most awesome characters in this movie. She totally deserves her own action figure for what she does in here.
Yeah, I know. You barely saw her in the first film. She had a couple of nice little scenes here and there, but really she was just kind of background scenery. Sorry, no offense, just saying that's how they played her character out in the first one. She was there because they needed a mom, but they didn't really give her any development. Whereas in this film, she actually had a personality. She was there consoling Thor, and it was and Loki. So it was really nice to see that they're not playing favorites in this.
Not at all. Well, yes, they were. You can't say that they were not playing favorites. No, come on. You know they were with one character in particular. Not that anybody's complaining.
Of course, I know. Dr. Eric Selvig. Hey, I'm sorry. Every scene that he was in stole the show from me. One scene in particular in the very beginning. I was laughing about that 3 hours later. You never look at Stonehenge the same way again.
No. So sad.
But okay. The other big one. Go ahead, say it.
Loki.
Yes, Loki. The god of mischief. He wasn't wearing his helmet in this one. Sorry, that's not really a spoiler. I'm just going to say he needed his helmet. His evil horned helmet. That's part of his thing. It'd be like...
Well, if he had it, you wouldn't be wearing it now, would you?
I know, I stole it. That's why he's not wearing it in the movie, because I took it. They shouldn't leave that little vault door unlocked with all their little goodies in there. Anything could have been taken.
Well, the fact is that... Stop that. Loki was probably one of the best things about this film. Tom Hiddleston once again does a superb job as Loki, and every scene where he and Thor were sharing the screen together were just golden. Best parts of the entire movie.
Oh, absolutely. I like how Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston, they almost are like brothers in real life. They play very well off each other, and they understand how their characters work. Now, you figure this is the third time that each of them have played it. The first Thor movie was kind of like a setup of their characters, and Avengers, it's like, okay, now you guys are both like superstars, and in this film, they're like legends. We both know who they are, and you just love everything about that. I like the fact that although, Tom Hiddleston is he's on top of the world right now, basically with his popularity. And everybody knew that going to this film, let's face it, that's who everybody wanted to see was Loki. Nobody can deny that. But it was nice to see that he was their favorite child, of the film. They knew that he was going to definitely make the film, but it was nice to see that he didn't overshadow the other characters, rightfully so as well.
Yeah, I think they hit all the right notes with Loki. They really did. From the humor that they were able to generate between him and Thor to the drama that they were able to get out of his story, it all just really worked very nicely. And as for Thor himself, you can see the conflict that he feels about Loki as well. He wants to trust him, but yet he knows that he can't. He feels and he pities for his brother, but at the same time he's concerned about his responsibilities as future king and current protector of the universe, especially Earth, Midgard. He cares for Jane Foster, believes that he might even love her, which causes conflict with Odin, his father. There's a lot right there.
No, and that's what was so amazing about it, is everybody seems to fit. They might overplay some of the uses of some of the gags and humor in it, but at the same time they're kind of like, we're going to give everybody something in this film that you're going to remember. Like, even if it's the smallest little thing, you're going to walk away you're not going to walk away saying, oh, who was that guy again, or who was this guy? Because in this film they make sure you remember pretty much every character, even if you don't necessarily need to know who they are.
Yeah, but you brought up something that's actually going to have to make us turn around and point out some of the weaknesses of this film, because unfortunately
that time again,
no film is perfect, and unfortunately Thor 2 does have two glaring weaknesses that we have to address.
Sorry guys, we tried.
And the funny thing is that it's kind of a matter of them having something that's so good that they end up either overdoing it or underdoing it.
That's really the case.
In the case of overdoing it, we have the humor. Marvel has a pattern with their movies that's very lighthearted and upbeat. It's been established in that since Iron Man. And, well, unfortunately, they've kind of just upped that comedy with each successive film to both good and bad, and unfortunately Thor 2 exemplifies a lot of the worst of what that humor can do. It's very good and very funny when it works, but unfortunately it's overused, especially towards the finale, and ends up detracting from the scale of this thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There comes a time where you have to realize, hey, it's time to hang up your hammer, hint hint, and just say, all right, we need to get down and dirty, just right down the business. We're not gonna, there's a time and place for everything, and it just felt like they thought they had a lot of fun gimmicks in here that they could use, and they are fun. The problem is, though, and this is the problem with all jokes and humor in films or television, is that usually, unless it's a really smart played out kind of humor, it's only going to make you laugh once. And so when you watch the film again, it's not going to be as funny. It's going to be more of a distraction and ultimately kind of a little bit of an irritation. And this kind of leads into the next issue of the film, is the underplayed use of its villain, Malekith, who was a very imposing, very threatening kind of villain. I mean, look at this and look at what he's trying to do. He's trying to plunge the entire galaxy into darkness. That's mass chaos.
Not just the galaxy, but the entire universe. Getting back to the scale of this thing versus the Avengers. In the Avengers, the Earth was in jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
In Thor 2, it's everything. It's all of the 9 realms.
And yeah, you figure that this is such a big universal chaos. I mean, here we have a dark elf here who wants to, plunge the whole galaxy into total darkness, and you think they would play that up a bit more because it's really a big deal. But I think what we were talking about earlier, this is one of the film's few weak points, is the fact that you have a grand threat here, but they really don't treat it as such. I mean, you see very little of Malekith. Now, grant you, what you do see of him is very well played out. And in the sense that he was very intimidating, very menacing, but they didn't give enough time to really develop him, I think.
Which is really a shame, because Christopher Eccleston just really did an awesome job with what little he was given.
Doctor Who, everybody!
That's right, of course. Christopher Eccleston was the 9th Doctor in the revival of the Doctor Who series, although he doesn't like to talk about that. It really is a matter of having something that's so good that it's a shame that they weren't able to use it more because of the running time with this movie. I think they ended up just feeling that they had to cut that down so that they could spend more time with Loki. And getting back to the scale, part of what undercut that was the film's own humor.
Yes, the humor was another thing. Now, grant you, I like the fact that this film is able to take itself seriously, and grant you, we're not going to go into spoiler territory, but there are a few scenes that are very dramatic, and they have their rightful place in here. And then they're rightfully balanced off with the well-placed humor, but the problem is, and I think this is a problem of the Avengers series as a whole.
Yeah, that does seem to be the thing with Marvel. DC and Marvel seem to have this polar opposite view. DC likes to go much more for the drama, dark, gritty, Dark Knight kind of feel. You know, you have your Christopher Nolan Batman, and now you have the new Superman series, and that's what they're going to be branching their movie universe off of. Whereas Marvel universe seems to much more embrace the fun, comedic aspect of the comic book nature of these films. That worked more for the first Iron Man, but I think as time went on, they've gotten a little bit too much into the humor. The only one that hasn't suffered any of that, I think, was the Avengers.
I think that it seems like they had a lot of really funny gimmicks, and unfortunately, the point of the film where it seemed like they overdosed on the humor the most is in the finale, when everything should have been more serious. That was when they did it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was very funny to watch, but as time goes on, I think when you watch the film again and again, that kind of humor that you have from the first time watching it is going to be diminished, and it's just going to leave you saying, I want to see what's going on with the fights things, not, funny little side plots.
Yeah, that was unfortunate because the stuff that was dramatic and dark and the action driven was really good. I think that the most serious it got was in the middle of the film. One particular confrontation between Thor and Malekith that really ended up costing Thor, but
that's a hint again.
But yeah, unfortunately, the finale, the final fight itself, what the big superhero smackdown when things are supposed to be at their most dire is when we get the most amount of jokes.
And you see, this is through no fault of the characters, or rather through no fault of the character Malekith, because he's a very intimidating villain. But again, it seemed like even now we were saying earlier that he was drastically overshadowed by Loki, but kind of rightfully so in a way. But even in the finale, it seemed like he was overshadowed by even some of the supporting characters that really aren't essential to the plot at this point. So that's just saying that it's almost like they didn't care enough or respect the character enough to solely focus on it, because like you're saying, the parts of the finale that focused on Thor and Malekith were very intense, but at that point most of that drama is kind of taken away because you're already kind of still chuckling over some of the little gags that they did along the way.
Cat Dennings.
Yeah, sorry. You're funny, but it's
Thor's movie. Stop stealing it from him.
Yes, it's obviously meant for that it was like the teen pleasing moment, where it's like, okay, that's why we have Darcy, is because we have the teenage group that just says, yeah, we need a funny kind of character like that, and there you go.
But despite those weaknesses, and despite the fact that we've been talking about them so much, they are relatively small. The overall package really is good. Thor 2 is exciting. It looks good. The effects are amazing. The action when it's going is hard hitting, and it's just great to be able to watch this adventure with Thor again, because he is one of my favorite Marvel movie characters.
It's funny you say that, because before I got into the Avengers series, I knew of Thor, I knew his hammer, but I didn't really know too much about his backstory. I did not really follow his comics faithfully, so I feel like, but now it's like I look at it and Thor is like my favorite Marvel superhero now, and it's funny that only 3 films could accomplish that.
I think that's a testament to Chris Hemsworth's acting because he really knows how to make Thor come to life.
He is
He's
Thor.
both the warrior. Yes, he is both the warrior and the caregiver and the brother. He hits every right note. In some ways, it's almost a shame that he often gets overshadowed by Tom Hiddleston as Loki because sometimes people forget that Chris Hemsworth himself is doing a phenomenal job with the superhero who could come off as very hokey.
Oh, and that was
given the circumstances.
exactly. You know, it's funny when you were saying the hokey because I remember when they were first doing advertisement for the first Thor movie back in 2011, and that was exactly what came into my mind when I'm seeing the poster and even a little bit of the trailer. I'm going, oh, okay, well, this is, you know, Iron Man was really tough and gritty, but it had its humor as well. But then I'm seeing Thor. I'm going, oh my gosh, how are they going to pull this out without having everybody pointing and laughing in embarrassment the whole time? You know, it's just, but they did it. They took something quite silly when you really look at it in retrospect, and they made it very fun and very epic. Yes, I'm using the word epic. Tiger Wolf's not a big fan of that word, but in this case, I think it properly describes what we're seeing.
I say that it almost would, except for how the movie undercuts its own epicness.
Yeah, it kind of does. I think it's a compliment and an insult at the same time because it's like the film kind of took the good points and unfortunately they made us drunk with the good points. Like they're saying, we're going to take this part that we know you're going to like or this element and we're just going to get you like, we're going to make you sick of it essentially. So that was like the only one of the only things that was wrong with the film is that it didn't. You know, the best part is it's like you keep your best elements at bay, where it's like we know when to show them, but then no one to kind of like say, okay, now kind of put it aside for the time being. But it seemed like they wanted to exploit, you know, the greatness of what they had to the full extent, and sometimes that just it. I don't want to say it cheapens it, but it kind of people get tired of it.
If they had a longer running time, I think that
there
would
you
have
go.
been better. But for the times that they had, some editing could have been utilized.
I mean, that's through no fault of the film. I don't think it's just like they wanted to cover a lot of stuff in a relatively short amount of time. And given what they wanted to do in the film, I think they accomplished that overall very well.
Oh, yes. You leave this film feeling very satisfied with what you get. And hungry for more.
Oh,
honestly.
Yes. Very, very, very much so.
We cannot get into spoilers. We want you to watch this.
Trust us. You will thank us later. And as always...
I think that I was just going to bring up what you were going to bring up. Make sure that you sit through the credits.
Yes, because as always, like all the Avenger films, there's actually something not like about halfway through the credits, and then there's something at the very end as well. So you get two, just like you did in Avengers. So yay! We won't say what those are, because again, spoilers.
That's right. And the interesting thing, I think, about the first credit scene is the fact that they were actually planning on using something similar to that in Iron Man 3.
Ooh.
But they just decided at the last second that it doesn't really fit with the vibe of Iron Man.
And the Iron Man movies have always been very self-contained. You know, not much of what's been happening in any of those films really played a significant part in, like, the Avengers films. So it's important to watch them, I suppose, because to know who Iron Man is. But plot-wise, that was kind of more Thor and Captain America. Those are the films you really need to watch in order to appreciate what they were doing in Avengers. And I'm kind of getting the feel that when we get to Avengers 2 next year, it's going to be the same kind of thing where you're going to really need to, not so much with Iron Man, but again, I'm getting more the feel that Thor and Captain America are going to be more the essential roles again.
Yeah, I get that feeling as well, especially since something that you had brought up during one of our conversations, Thor actually contains possibly the most amount of continuity connecting points between the Marvel series. Captain America had the Tesseract and Tony Stark's dad and some of the setup for S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything, but as far as straight up web activity, I think that Thor is kind of the hub.
Exactly, and I'm just gonna make this point just so I can prove you wrong. Sorry, I have to, but also going back to the first Thor movie, there was the most amount of returning characters from that film that appeared in the Avengers film. I mean, grant you, Nick Fury, who's the head honcho of all of S.H.I.E.L.D., he was in all of them, but still, he did appear briefly in Thor, as did Agent Coulson. That's pretty much his biggest role of any of the Avengers films leading up to the Avengers movie. Obviously, Thor and Loki as well. Hawkeye made a brief appearance in Thor, and of course, Dr. Eric Selvig. So, I mean, that's 6. And that's why I think that the theme music for Avengers is also the theme music for Thor. So there. It works.
You just wanted to hum it again, didn't you?
It's good music.
Yeah, I guess that is a slight problem with the Thor movies. They could have used a better score.
That's really a fault of really the series as a general. None of the, like, Iron Man, Captain America a little bit, but Thor, they're not really memorable theme musics. I mean, let's face it, that's one of the strengths of, like, the DC. Like, everybody remembers the Batman music, be it from Christopher Nolan's films or Tim Burton's, or God forbid, Joel Schumacher's as well. You know, they're just memorable music pieces. Sorry, I had to go there because it is memorable music. Whereas with the Marvel films, really the only memorable one that they've had so far was the Avengers.
Yeah, unfortunately. I think that Thor possibly did come the closest because of the fantasy setting. They ended up with possibly one of the bigger scores out of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that they could stand to work on their musicality a little bit.
But in the meantime, we're sticking with the Avengers theme for all of them. Dun, 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 dun. Come on, join in with me. You know you want to. No? All right, fine.
Dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. No, he can't do it. He can't do it.
No, I can't. I can't betray this movie. It feels wrong. I'll do it in 2015 when we get Avengers 2.
Fair enough.
Fine. In the meantime, I think that's it for this movie. Final rating, Bloodstainedfur?
Like out of 10 or stars, or what do you want me to do?
Out of 10 hammers, how many do you think it deserves?
Well, like I said, it did have its flaws, like most movies do. But that didn't hinder my liking of the film too much. So I think I would give it probably a solid 8 Hulk smashes. Even though Hulk's not even in this film, whatever.
I agree. I would give it 8 hammers and 1 ram's horn helmet.
Oh, it's 8.5.
Yeah, it was good. The weak points were a problem, but they didn't ruin this movie for me. And going into it, I knew that it wasn't going to be a super epic, big actioner. I knew Marvel does have this pattern. I noticed it has its formula. It doesn't tend to deviate from it, but it does it very well. And Thor 2 is kind of a bag of both the best and the worst of what Marvel's done so far.
I think, rating it wise, I still think Avengers is the best of the Marvel Avengers series. But in all honesty, I really, at least my personal thing, I think Thor 2 would be my next favorite after that.
I have to agree with you. Avengers is obviously still the best of the Marvel series. Some might argue the best superhero movie made so far. I would disagree. I have a lean towards the DC movie, sorry. But yeah,
Dark Knight.
Thor 2. Yeah. But Thor 2 definitely ranks up there. Normally I would have said that Iron Man is the second best of the Marvel series, but maybe on repeat viewings of Thor 2, I might have to change my tune on that. I am looking forward to the next time, especially with that ending that is going to leave you drooling for more.
I was, yes. There was a whole river coming out of my mouth. But we won't spoil it for you because that would be really naughty. But trust us, you will thank us later. Hint, hint. Yeah.
Yes.
You will thank us.
Yep. So I guess that's it for now. Thanks for watching us, everybody.
Absolutely, yes. Be sure to tune in next time.
So, how do we get down from here?
Oh, yeah, right. Right, we're still trapped over here. Well, I was rebuilding the rainbow road thingy, but I didn't know how exactly to rebuild it, so I used Skittles. Because, taste the rainbow. Thought that was close enough.
Yeah, the horses tasted that rainbow. They ate it.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think that went all the way through. So, back to the drawing board. We might be here for a little while. Hopefully we'll get out in time for Captain America 2. That's 4 months away. That should be enough time.
It better be, otherwise I'm going to have to bring the thunder down on you.
Help me. But stay cool, guys. We'll see you later.
Have a good one, and thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.